You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. I am your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show is all about lessons from experts, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. Each of our presenters will have 15 minutes to share a lesson with our audience, something to make us better, personally or professionally. Let's bring on our guests. Welcome, Red. Welcome, Megan, and welcome, Trish, to the program. It's great to see all of you today.
Thanks for having us.
Howdy.
I'm excited to hear from you and also to collaborate afterwards and talk about what we took away from your lesson. So we are live streaming on Business Talk Radio, as always, and we are also live streaming on social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch TV. So hello to everyone out there. We're really excited that you're here. We'd also love to hear from you today. Any comments that you feel like putting onto social media, and you can also call in. So we'd love to hear from you. Any comments, feedback that you have for our show. The number to call is area code 609-961-1699. Again, 609-961-1699. Okay, let's get started. I'd love to hear from each of you. Tell us where you're calling in from, what you're an expert in terms of a coach, consultant, or trusted advisor, and what your lesson will be on. I'm going to start with you, Megan.
Hello, my name is Megan. I am a strategic productivity partner, and I am an expert in working with entrepreneurs and small business owners to create productivity habits, processes, and systems that work for you. And today we are going to talk about a productivity tools checkup and why you need to look at your productivity tools, decide if you want to keep, toss, or make better.
I love it. You are the queen of productivity. Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
And Trish, welcome to the program. I'm going to spotlight you. Please tell us where you're calling in from, what your area of expertise is as a coach, consultant, or trusted advisor, and what your lesson will be on today.
Thanks, Dr. Jacalyn. I appreciate being here today. First of all, I am a work-life inclusion coach. I also am a what you would call a disability inclusion expert in terms of helping businesses embrace disability inclusion. But I also support entrepreneurs with disabilities as well. And today I'm going to be talking about, my ABCs. I have ABCs to working and living well with chronic illness. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be talking about self-management strategies.
Fascinating, Trish. I think you're kind of in a unique role, and I'm really glad that you're here to share and get the word out that there are people like you who are here to help entrepreneurs, people with disabilities, and also organizations to actually make their workspaces, workplaces disability friendly.
Thanks.
Thank you. And Red, you're a panelist today. So you're actually going to be with me just watching these experts, but you're an expert in your own right. So tell us, if you would, where are you calling in from? What is your area of expertise? And what would you like to get out of the show today?
I'm calling in from Houston, Texas area. I live about 25 miles southwest of downtown, but we're still inside the Metroplex area, so to speak. I'm a best-selling author. The books that I have are primarily in health and wellness. My real niche, my real expertise is in the area of longevity. I'm also a professional speaker, and I have a business as an independent publisher. And I'm working with Dr. Jacalyn right now as a book strategist, book coach, to develop her first book that we'll be publishing here and be available, I believe, by Easter. Is that correct?
Yes, Easter.
So we're working on that together.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. We're making very good progress. So,
Woohoo!
so thanks for sharing that. Okay, so Trish, we are going to start with you, but first we're going to take a very short break, just a 2-minute break, and give you an opportunity to reset. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. So stay with us. We'll be right back here. We are live on Business Talk Radio and social media. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Bella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Bella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Bella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet, even the other stations are tuned into.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello, and welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. We are here with 3 experts, people who are at the top of their field, 2 of whom are going to present a lesson for us to take with us to make us better personally or professionally. And Trish has very graciously offered to go first. Trish, we are really excited to hear from you. I'm going to spotlight you. I'm also going to pull up the 15-minute timer. And when the timer disappears, that means that we've passed 15 minutes, but we'll let you keep going. So
Okay.
as soon as you're ready, let me know.
Alrighty. I'm just throwing up my screen for you, okay? Sharing my slides.
Would you like me to put it up now?
Yes, please.
Okay.
There we go. We're all good. Okay. So we're all set?
Here you go.
All right. So thanks so much for joining today. Today I'm going to talk about the ABCs of working and living well with chronic illness. And as you'll learn, I come by this honestly, this experience. Good day, and thanks to you all for tuning in. My name is Trish Robichaud, and I am a work-life inclusion coach, an author, a trainer, and an accessibility subject matter expert. And I live and work with multiple disabilities. In fact, I was diagnosed with major depression in my 20s, multiple sclerosis in my 30s, significant heart disease in my 40s, and bipolar disorder in my 50s. Thankfully, I'm also blessed to be quite resilient, an eternal optimist, and a devout problem solver with an affinity for finding or creating elusive solutions to situations that present barriers. And this has served me very well personally as a coach for my clients and as well as for my clients. I've now been coaching people with disabilities on work, life, and business issues for almost 25 years, and training and consulting for organizations on how to interact with clients, customers, and employees with disabilities for over 15 years. I'm passionate about my work and my clients' success. And I'm actually living proof that life with chronic illness does not preclude achievement of success for anyone. And my business is called Changing Faces. So pleased to meet you. Before I get started, I just want to give you a quick disclaimer that the following content is not intended to be a substitute for any kind of professional medical advice. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding working and living with a chronic illness or a permanent medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay it in seeking it because of something discussed here today. So right off the bat, working and living well with chronic illness requires self-management. Chronic illness is actually a significant healthcare problem in North America. Some say as much as 50% of our population has a chronic illness or disability. And something's gone wrong. My slide's not responding. Oh, now it's responding. There was a StreamYard thing over my tools. Anyways, apologies. Yes, chronic illness is a significant healthcare problem in North America. Some say as much as 50% of our population is affected. Now it's moving by itself. That's so interesting. And we'll just take it back where we want it. While healthcare professionals have been encouraging their patients to make healthy lifestyle choices for many decades, there's now clinical study-based evidence that, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, it's moving by itself. There's now clinical-based evidence that follow-up coaching and skills development practice can contribute to their success. These studies have proven that people who have the skills, knowledge, and confidence, yes, we're just going to make do. So our agenda today, I'm going to talk about 3 key objectives I want to achieve today, 3 key strategies that we're going to use to get to those objectives, and the 3 key elements that are foundational in those strategies. Then we're going to do a quick review, and then we're going to ask you to do a little reflection. And let's hope that PowerPoint is working. Oh my goodness, it's not moving. And if I click it too many times, it's going to tell you what. Let us do this without the PowerPoint, because that's not working, folks. So I am just going to ad lib, and I'm going to give you my presentation this way, okay? So I hope my smiling face is okay. And I'm going to, we are going to explore a few objectives today. And my objectives are, number 1, to explore the impact that positive attitude can have on our work and our health. Number 2, that was number 1. Number 2 is to examine the role that proactive planning and maintaining balance can play. And number 3, to acknowledge that communication is critical to understanding ourselves and our condition, and to being able to help others to understand our needs, as well as why we would set boundaries. Okay, so that's important for others to understand as well. The key strategies that we're going to use to achieve those objectives are, we're going to talk about defining your illness without allowing it to define you. Number 2, planning for the worst while hoping for the best. And number 3 is about understanding your condition well and being able to explain it to others, or at least being able to talk about it, period. Okay? And then we're going to talk about the essential elements, which are the foundation for the strategies as well as the theme of the workshop, which are attitude, balance, and communication. I made them easy to remember because, you know what, MS has memory issues. So I'm all about accommodating my challenges so that they don't trip me up. Okay, and that's something we'll talk about These essential elements, they are the elements to optimal health. And I've made them easy to remember because they're based on the alphabet. And I don't know you, but memory and cognition problems that come with my condition, aging. No, seriously, MS does come with memory issues. If there's nothing else that you take away from this training today, please take away the ABCs for living well with chronic illness. A for attitude, B for balance, and C for communication. And now I'm going to do a little squirt here. Sorry, folks, I have to do that from time to time. Do a lot of talking. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you some compelling questions. Because you know what? I believe that the best learnings that we take away from any kind of event like this are the learnings that pop into our heads naturally, okay? So I'm not actually going to give you solutions today. You're going to come up with the solutions, okay? And I'm going to pose questions to help you do that, all right? So these key questions are all going to be surrounding those key strategies and the essential elements that I'm looking for your participation with. Okay, so I know that, we can't go back and forth, but you can participate by thinking and even talking out loud to yourself as we're going through this training. Okay, so strategy number 1 is defining the illness without letting it define you. In other words, find out as much as you can about your condition without allowing yourself to become the condition. What methods have you used to define your condition for yourself? Or what methods or sources of information would you recommend to others in your shoes? Would that be doctors, could be the internet, could be disability or illness-related organizations, or it could be some kind of support group. And then also, how have you refused to allow the illness to define you? Very vital to think about that. So what have you tried to keep of yourself? What's vitally important for you to keep of yourself? Strategy number 2, plan for the worst while hoping for the best. And in that situation, I want to find the balance between being hopeful but realistic at the same time. That's my goal. And how can you plan for the worst while hoping for the best? Well, here's my personal example. I don't plan to end up in a wheelchair, even though I have MS. But when my husband built a deck on the back of the house, he made an allowance for a ramp in the future if necessary. And that is what I mean by planning for the worst, but hoping for the best. All right. And so how have you been helpful while also realistic? Maybe in terms of your work, maybe in terms of your social life. I don't know. Next, we have key strategy number 3 is being able to understand your condition, understand it well, and being able to talk about it. It's so vital to be able to talk about it because the things that we keep hidden are the things that have the most power in our life and can be the most self-destructive. Understanding your condition is critical to to coping with it, but it's also important to be able and willing to explain it to others. How can we find ways to understand it? What do you think? Talking to people who are in the same boat, talking to doctors. Well, not always, getting, full spectrum of understanding in that regard, but it's someplace to start anyways. And why is being able to explain it to others so important? And finally, we're getting into essential elements here. Okay, so essential elements, number 1, is attitude. How can your attitude reflect your ability to cope with your condition? Wow, that's a big one. That's actually quite loaded. Okay, and what effect can your attitude about being sick have on your daily quality of life? Really important. Not only your quality of life, but that of those around you. All right, and essential element number 2, and we're going to round up really quick here. What role do you think balance plays in managing work-life integration on a daily basis with a chronic illness? Balance is vital, but balance is seldom a simple half and half splitting of your time between work and life. And everyone's version of balance is as unique to them as their fingerprints. What do you think might be the resulting impact on your health if you don't have any sort of balance between your work and your life? It's not rocket science. It's certainly not rocket science. The longer you're out of balance, the more vulnerable you can be to further health issues and screw-ups at work. And communication. This is our third and final essential element. And we're talking, how well would you expect to be able to cope with having a condition if you don't understand it? Be like walking into a minefield blindfolded. We have to eliminate the unknown to be able to recognize symptoms so that we can do what we can do for ourselves to minimize them. What about your family or friends? How well do you think they'd be able to cope if you weren't able to talk about what's going on with you? If they're in the dark, they feel powerless and shut out. That's clearly not going to benefit your relationship with them. Okay, now I'm going to move on to our summary. And our summary here, let me give a quick roundup to our summary. And what I'm running past here, by the way, is content that you would learn if you were working directly one-on-one with me, all right? So our objectives were to explore the impact that positive attitude can have on your work and your health, examine the role that proactive planning and maintaining balance can play, and acknowledging that communication is critical to understanding yourself and to being able to work with others effectively. And then finally, the key strategies were defining your balance, defining your illness without letting it define you, planning for the worst and hoping for the best, understanding it well and explaining to others. And the ABCs are attitude, balance, and communication. And those are the pieces I want you to take away today. Yeah. And if what I've talked about has resonated with you at all, please reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. And you can do that at fortalkwithtrish.com. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
Well done. Very well done. So I'm sure we all have a lot of comments to share. We're just going to take a break and hear from our sponsors, so this way we can go right into it. Thank you, Trish. That was excellent. We'll be right back. Stay with us on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You, live on Business Talk Radio and social media. Our show is all about lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And we just heard from Trish, who did an excellent job. Trish, I just wanted to thank you. You talked about something that's obviously very close to your heart, and you shared information about your own health, and your transparency with it is just beautiful. So thank you for that. I also live with a chronic incurable disease, ulcerative colitis. I can relate to what you're talking about. You gave some really great tips. I love the ABC. So I'm going to turn over to Red first for your feedback, your comments, your takeaways.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Trish, for sharing that. Sometimes it's very hard to share anything that's personal, and I think you did a very good job. I like several things. I like the disclaimer very upfront. I think that's super important. You just can't take things and do. So I thought that was very well presented. Everything had extra credibility because it was a personal experience. And it was obvious that on your own benefit, you had to learn things, so you're in a constant learning mode in order to help yourself and in order to help others. And that seemed to be very, very obvious that is one of your passions, is helping others. The audience that we're presenting to, whether it's to the individual person watching now or somebody they know, a family, a friend, this is all pertinent. I really liked from the very, very start your positive attitude. You could see it, you could hear it in your voice, you could see it in your facial expressions, and the occasional leaning forward with the body language, just so that you had that perspective that you were talking to the audience and you were really involved there. You were very flexible and adaptive. When the slides weren't working right, you said, hey, time out, let's go back and do it the old-fashioned way. And you had to be an expert to know how to bring this all in and do it within the time frame, because part of that time frame is already reduced, and you snuck it in right to the last second. Perfect. I think the real good takeaway is the fact that stress happens to all of us. It doesn't matter whether it's a chronic disease or anything. And it's not what happens, it's what we do with it ourselves.
Exactly.
If we hang on to it, then we kind of victimize ourselves to a degree. And the part that I see that you have kind of, it's analogous to the Navy SEALs. In order to graduate from their program, they have a thing called Hell Week, when absolutely everything that could possibly go wrong, the worst case scenario, every hour, every day, no minute let up, happens. And that's what happens when you have chronic disease of some sort. You're constantly reminded that this thing is there and you can't get rid of it. Well, they teach you there to embrace the suck, because it sucks and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's not what you're telling them. You have to realize that's what it is, but there's a world outside that. And I think you did a very good job of saying, ABC, 1, 2, 3, this is what you need to do. And it works because you're living proof. That's what I think.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Red. Very, very much appreciate that. Yes.
Great feedback, Red. Thank you. Megan, your thoughts and comments and takeaways from Trish's presentation. Oh, sorry. I think you've muted yourself.
Okay,
there we go.
There we go. I agree with everything that Red and Dr. Jacalyn said about just the power of what you said, especially when we think that more than 50% or almost 50% of our world, are dealing with chronic illnesses, injuries, or something. For me, the part that was super powerful was understanding and being able to explain. I have an ankle and hip issue that's been going on for 15 years, and I had 6 surgeries in a period of about 3 years, and I was on crutches for about 4 or 5 years. And so for me, because everyone would always ask about it because it was so visible, and I just got tired of answering it. And so I would become kind of a little flippant with my response, or, oh, I hurt my ankle jumping out of an airplane. And so what that did is that, it made it funny, so people would go away, which isn't always good with chronic illnesses and diseases. We need to talk about them and explain them and be more informational. So you've encouraged me that I need to actually take more time and explain what's going on so people understand. And it might help self-compassion too.
Thanks, Megan. But certainly in that situation, it depends on who you're talking to. Often the flippant answer to a stranger is the best way to go. Humor is one of the largest tools in my toolkit. Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Thank you for your feedback.
Mm-hmm. Really great, Megan. Thank you. Trish, how are you feeling now that your presentation's over?
I feel good about it. I knew that I had more content here than I needed. And I anticipated that when I got to I have a strategy for every letter in the words attitude, balance, and communication. So I have like 27 strategies. And I knew that I was going to fly past them, but I wanted people to see that there's more to it. And perhaps then that'll entice them to reach out to me, because I would love to share those messages with others, because it's, literally how I'm still working after 17 years, after 30 years with MS. I'm still self-employed 17 years into my business.
Congratulations. That's excellent. Trish, we are streaming your information, but for people listening on the radio, what's the best way to get in touch with you, and what are you offering people who are watching the program?
I am offering a free download to one of my books called After the Diagnosis. It's actually a little workbook that you can walk through to help you process your grieving, because it's a big part of post-diagnosis. So yeah, if they go to www.talkwithtrish.com, you'll sign up for a chat with me, and you'll get a free download of the book.
That's very
I'd love
generous.
to chat with you.
Thank you. So it's the number 4 talk, TALK, with WITH, Trish, TRISH.com. So please go there and visit and book your free consultation.
Thanks.
Very nice. Megan, are you ready for your spotlight?
I am ready.
All right. Let me pull you up. Okay. Let me mute us and give you your timer. Here we go. 15 minutes. Go ahead.
All right. So today what we're going to talk about, it's almost spring. And so we want to think a little bit about some spring cleaning, and specifically with our productivity tools. I mean, it's me, so we're going to talk about productivity. You know, it's what I do. It's who I am. It's what I love. So we're going to talk about our productivity tools. We want to specifically talk about a productivity tools checkup. So kind of the same as spring cleaning. We want to think about our productivity tools, and are they what we need right now? Should we keep them, toss them, or should we get something, make something better? And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today with our productivity tools. And I'll be honest with you, when I was thinking about this presentation, I was thinking, you know, is this something people would want to hear about or not? I mean, as a topic, yes, totally understand that. But then I was thinking, when we're talking about it, how could we make sure that this is something you're interested in? So I want to give you a disclaimer and a public service announcement at the beginning. The goal of this presentation is to get you thinking about your productivity tools, is about getting you thinking about a productivity tool checkup, and about thinking about what productivity tools are out there. So I'm going to go through a list, and we're going to talk about some specific things. And like I said, part of me was thinking, is this useful or not? And then I thought part of my mission is to be a resource ninja for everybody, especially with productivity. And so the benefit of talking about all the different tools is you might not need all of them, and that's great. But if you hear one, or if you hear something, or if you hear even a concept like that can happen, I never knew it. What it's going to do is it's going to get you to start thinking. And so with the productivity tool checkup, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about why it's so important. We're going to talk about some tools and how to do the tools checkup. And then we're going to talk about some specific takeaways so that you're able to take something away from this presentation. So let's start with why. Why is it important to have a productivity tools checkup? I'm going to say that there's a few reasons. And the first reason we're going to start with is actually stress reduction. If you think about it, in our world, our world is more stressful than it was a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And so that's a fact. We can't do anything to change that. We can change to how we respond to it. And so that's why we want to think about productivity tools do relate to stress, because if our productivity tools are working for us, and if we're able to take control of our time, it's going to reduce our stress. So that's why we want to talk about that. One other, it's a very new, in January of 2021, a report was released that said that 75 to 90% of today's doctor's appointments are somehow related to stress. So somehow whatever issue, whether it's migraines or allergies or injury or soreness or high blood pressure or heart, all of it is related to stress. And so that's why we want to do a productivity tools check, because we want to look at what are some of the ways we can reduce our stress. And this is one of them. And so that's why we want to, doing a productivity tools checkup will reduce your stress. It's also important because we live in an ever-changing world and ever-changing landscape. I'll be honest with you. I moved to the remote world about 7 years ago. When I moved to the remote world, and what I mean move to the remote world, I left my corporate America job and I started working remote online. So when I realized there was this whole world of opportunity. When I started, I was out of my league because I wasn't sure of all the tools that were available, because they had changed so much. And now I go back and I look at what has been created over the last 7 years. We live in a fast-paced, ever-changing world. One of the reasons you want to do a productivity tool check-in is because maybe the tool you're working is okay and you're making it work, but there's actually something better out there, because there's so many smart developers out there that are creating apps and resources and tools that we need to be able to know what they are, and we need to use them to take control of our time and our productivity. So not only does it reduce stress, not only is it an ever-changing and fast-paced world where new apps and things are being developed all the time. I mean, look at 2020 was the year that Zoom took on a whole new world, not only the app, but we now have, I'm Zoomating, and so when you think about it, before 2020, not everyone knew about Zoom, but now we do. And so we want to keep up. And not only that, not only does the world change, but we change. What projects we're working on, what our priorities are, our surroundings. Oh, now I'm working at home. Oh, now I'm working at home and I'm a principal. And I also am a childcare provider. Well, I am now figuring out IT for my office. Anyone experience that this year? When you think about it, all those things are going to happen. And so what supports us? We can't change a pandemic. We can't change. There's a lot of things we can't change outside, but we can change. Do we have our tools? Do we have our productivity? Do we have processes and habits that are going to keep us, on track? So you might be asking, productivity tools, productivity habits, what does she mean? What does that exactly mean? Is it a to-do list? And that's what's exciting when you think about it. Productivity tools is such a huge area right now. There are so many places that we can look at productivity tools, and there are so many places that we can do it. So that's what we're going to look at today. We're specifically going to talk about 5 areas today. So we're going to talk about scheduling tools that are available within productivity, taking control of your productivity. We're going to talk about communication tools, organization and logistical tools, project and task tools, and then finance tools. These are just a few areas, but again, I want you to start thinking in every area you go in life, in anything that you're doing in work, there are tools and resources that are there to help you. So it's important to find them. And so one of the things I'll tell you, so I am a strategic productivity partner, and what I do is I work with people to implement specific productivity habits and tools. So I work with people to say, okay, you're using Asana for project management right now. Does it work? Or do we need something different? So that's where this productivity tools concept came up, because I've been doing it with my clients. And so now one of the things that we actually do within those categories is we actually go through and we do a productivity tool checkup. And I ask, and we actually create cards and say, is this a productivity tool you need to keep right now? Is this a productivity tool you should toss right now? And then we'll also go through, is this a productivity tool that we should make better right now? So one of the things that I do with my clients, and I have my cards, and then they print them out, and we'll go through and we'll say, okay, what are all of the tools that you're using right now? We do this twice a year. I recommend twice a year. If you do it once a year, that's better than nothing. So I will take it. But what I want for you to do is to really sit down with all of your tools that you use and ask yourself, should I keep it? Is it working for me? Should I toss it? Or should I make it better? Honestly, one of the reasons we're talking about this, there might be a time when you need to add a tool. And so that's a bonus. Is there something new that I need? And so that's why we're doing this. And so that's why it's so important to do a productivity tools checkup and ask yourself, because the goal is we want to have everything that we keep and we want it to make better, continuously improve our time. We want to practice Kaizen, continuous improvement. So I said that there were 5 areas within tools. So this is just to get you thinking it. Open your mind. Don't worry if you can't think of all of them, if you never heard of them. Again, this is just to open your mind and start thinking of all the possibilities that are out there to help you take control of your time, your productivity, and work smarter, not harder, which is all of our goal. So let's talk a little bit about scheduling tools. What do I mean with scheduling tools? We have our calendars. When you think about it, you have your calendar. Important to ask. Anymore, a lot of us have more than one calendars. So the question is, what's that one calendar place? There are tools. If you have multiple calendars, there's tools that you can add your calendar in so that you can create one. So what is the calendar tool that you're using? What are your scheduling tools? There's tools like Calendly, Acuity, Mixmax. These tools, and this is one of my favorite, these are scheduling tools where you're able to set up a schedule. You're able to send a link to somebody, because you know those emails that we go back, hey, let's meet tomorrow. What time? Does 1 o'clock, 3? Did you meet Pacific time? Did you meet Central time? Oh, those drive me crazy. So with a tool like Calendly or Acuity or Mixmax or scheduling calendar, you're able to set up a calendar, set up appointments, send a link to someone and say, let's meet tomorrow. Here's my week, check it out. And they're able to do that. So when you're thinking of scheduling, think of not only your calendar, but what tools do you use to take control of your time, your scheduling tool. Things like, also when you're thinking about like social media, do you have scheduling tools to complete tasks for you with social media? Do you have like a buffer, or do you have a Hootsuite? Think of all that. So when we're thinking of our productivity tools checkup, when with calendars, it's how can we take care of our time? What are the resources to help? What are the pitfalls? What are our pain points? For me, the pain point was going back and forth. Calendly, love it. It's helped me immensely. Scheduling tools, right? So let's talk a little bit about communication tools. Communication tools are not just email. It used to be when we would talk about communication, we would talk about voicemail and email. Well, then it was voicemail and email and then text. And then it was voicemail, email, and text. And now we have, oh, let me Slack you or WhatsApp you or Skype you, or oh my gosh, Google Hangout. There's so many options for messages. So one of the things I say with communication, it's important to narrow down and target and identify where you're communicating with people. Then it's important to set up habits so that you're picking up your communication each day. And then it's important to say, okay, what are some tools that can help? If you have too many messages, too much going on, there's things like SaneBox that you can send all of your newsletters and some of the subscriptions to. So that's a great idea. Another thing with communication is to be able to use your email in a way that it works for you. So another thing you can do is canned response. I always recommend to people, do you have canned responses? Do you have emails that you respond to all the time? Set up a canned response. That way you're able to respond to it and you're typing a little bit less. So communication. The third area we're going to talk about is organization and logistics. All of us, whether we're working for ourselves, someone else, we work on a lot of projects. There's just some of that organization and logistics. What is your file structure? Where do you keep your files? Is it Dropbox? Do you keep it in Google? Where do you keep your files? And what does that file look like? Then logistics, we also want to think about do you have a password protection program? Do you have, what do you use for your camera and for your video conferencing? So again, you want to look at those tools, and are those tools giving you the best? Are there processes and automations you're able to set up? Another thing I want you to think about with logistics is there's a tool called Zapier. Zapier is a connecting tool. There's several connecting tools out there. Zapier is one where you're able to set up work tools like, hey, if a project is added to my project management, then I'm going to be sent an email. So there's tools within there that you're able to do that. The fourth area we want to talk, so that's tools and organization and logistics, making sure, do you have things that are helping you get the things you need to do? We spend 45% of our days, between 10 and 12 hours, 45% of our days doing repetitive tasks over and over. So that's why I'm starting to mention and think about, what is the automation possibilities? What are you doing? Because there's so many capabilities, and it's hard sometimes to know what they are. The fourth area we're going to talk about is project and task management. We know that there are so many great apps out there. Asana, Trello, Monday.com, Todoist. They're all Kanban, which is the product and the process. When you think about it, there are a lot of tools out there. So you need to ask yourself, what will work best for you? And I'll tell you, this is one that I recently worked on because I love Kanban. There's a Kanban flow app that I love and I use for myself. And my business is expanding, and I've been having to look at project management with others. I realized that, you know what? I either needed to toss or make better my app for working with others. And so what I did is I made it better. And so I'm using a combination of Kanban and ClickUp with others. So just things to think about. Always ask yourself, where am I now? Where do I need to be? And find those tools that you can get there. The fifth area to think about is finances. It's a hard area to talk about. We know that there's things like QuickBooks, but we also know that you can track your time with like a Harvest app. If you're billing your time by hour, do you have a tool, again, like a Harvest that you're able to track your time? Do you have an expense tool? So think about those things. So as we're thinking about, and as you're going through and thinking about productivity, I know I've talked about a lot. Part of that was intentional, just to get your mind thinking to all the possibilities that are out there, everything you're able to do, that it's important to take control of your time. When you think about it, we get updates all the time for our app, right? I have an iPhone, and so there's always like, you need to update it. Let's learn from the technology we use. If our technology knows that we need to take time to do updates, then we need to learn the same thing. The best way to do that is with a productivity tools checkup. I would say do it at least twice a year. If you do it once, you're on the right track. But it's that idea of looking, where am I? Where do I want to go? What tools will help me? If they're not working for me, then it's time for me to make them better. I'm Megan. I'm a strategic productivity partner. If you have any questions or anything about these resources, please feel free to check out my website or email me at megan@downwithspp.com.
Outstanding.
Beautiful.
Outstanding. Great job.
Wow.
We are going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and share our feedback with Megan. And Megan, my head is spinning because I thought of now 4 more things that we have to work on together. So.
Write them down, send them to me. We'll get it taken care of.
I definitely will. Okay, here we go. We'll be right back after this break from our sponsor. Located at 121 Haddon Avenue in Westmont, New Jersey, is Margie Cedrone, artisan jeweler. Margie's been in business for more than 30 years. She works with her clients to create custom pieces of jewelry to reflect their personality and help them make their own bold statement. Starting in the renowned Jewelers Row in Center City, Philadelphia in 1988, Margie works directly with her clients to develop one-of-a-kind pieces such as necklaces, engagement rings, wedding bands, unique watches and tennis bracelets, as well as a myriad of rings and earrings for everyone in your family. She also has worked directly with Dr. Jacalyn over the years, creating unique pieces of jewelry to reflect her personality. She does pearl stringing and repairs on site at 121 Haddon Avenue. Call or text Margie at 215-384-7155. Margie Cedrone Jewelry is open by appointment only. Make your own bold statement.
Are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. Thank you to our sponsors. We love you. We appreciate you. So Megan, you just gave us a mind-blowing presentation on productivity tools. I could see all of us making notes. So I want to just share with you that, obviously I work with Megan. I've said that numerous times. She's really phenomenal, and she's gotten me much more organized and keeps me on point. And she has this whole plethora of tools I've never even heard of before. So many more than what she even just shared right there. So you did a fantastic job, and you gave us a lot of really good information. Thank you, Megan. Red, over to you.
Thank you again, Dr. Jacalyn. Megan, again, total applause. Nothing I can say there. But anyway, your enthusiasm, your confidence, your knowledge just shine through from the very first start. I mean, and I love the way that you took the word why. When we talk about productivity, it's usually how to. We never really consider the reason why. And when you brought in the issue about stress and doctor's offices and everything else in that, and productivity is a solution, that's something that most of us never think about. And I thought that was very wise to bring that at the very, very beginning, because now it sets the panel for everything else. It was very obvious that you're in a continual learning mode. There's, you have a lot of knowledge of this, but this is new. Here's something more current, and you're able to tell your clients, teach them how this one is better than this one, or how this one. So that was very, very obvious. You said we're in change mode all the time. Down here in Houston, we had some really low temperatures, nothing like this for 40 years or more. That's a change. And that just shut everybody down. When you're without electricity for a while, without water for a while, that's a big change in your life. But the enthusiasm I saw was exhibited several ways. Obviously, your voice, but when you wanted to say that, this is important, it's number two, whatever it is, you used your hands, you use the body to amplify what you wanted to say, to really bring importance to it. And that I thought that really backed up what you were doing. The topic you had was super important to the audience, no doubt about that. It's obvious that you love what you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't have that personality that is just beaming out when you're talking about it. And I thought one of the really interesting ways that you brought this in at the conclusion, we said, just like Apple has an update every so often, we in our lives also need to do that similar update. And that was kind of a really nice way of tying that thing together. That's what I thought.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Nice to hear.
Great feedback, Red. Trish, how about you? What were your thoughts, your comments, and takeaways?
Oh, sure. Follow Red now, huh? Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Now, what could I possibly talk about? Wow, I like your hair color today. Thank you, Megan. Honestly, my dear.
So thank you.
Yes, honestly, my dear, exceptional. I can't help but echo. Okay, so I'm gonna have to. Your energy is palatable. Like how much you want to help me comes right off the screen and grabs me. Right? I get that. I get that from your tone, from the way you deliver. And I totally get that you are a geek, man. You are right geeked out on those toys because I'm right there with you. So I understand. Yeah, there's amazing tools and I know what it takes to keep up. So kudos, man. Like, because those two of those toys, I slip out there. I know you call them tools, so I slip out toys by accident all the time because they're toys to me. But yeah, staying on top of what's new and current and what's working and knowing the benefits of one versus the drawbacks of it, to compare the two is really difficult for people who not even sure they didn't even know they needed the tool. Right? So how are they going to decide one from another? And it's beautiful that you bring that experience to help them decide. And I have no doubt that your decision about what tool they need is partially based on the client's input, but also partially based on your gathering of information about what works for them and what doesn't work for them and what you think they'll respond to and what they're going to just let slack. Right? So really amazing, Megan. I look forward to connecting further and hearing more about what you do, because I know that it's very empowering to show an entrepreneur how to automate pieces of their business. That's really super cool. So you have a superpower. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Fantastic. I love what you're saying, Trish. You know what I feel, and I want to hear from you, Megan. I don't have any children, but I feel like a proud mother. It's like, everybody's so accomplished and has done such a great job today. Thank you so much. Megan, how are you feeling after your presentation and the feedback?
Good, and I appreciate the feedback. Part of me was worried that just talking about all kinds of tools, might get lost, and that's why I wanted to just, point out that it's not just about the specific tool; it's about the thought process. And just like you said, Trish, it's a scavenger hunt to find what works for us because we're all different, and there are tools that will work for us. It's important to make it happen.
And I have to say, week after week, Megan always has the same energy. So it's she loves what she does and she's really good at it. So thank you again.
Thank you.
We are at the top of the hour. The time has gone by so quickly. I'm going to spotlight each of you. And if you can share with us the best way to get in touch with you, we'll start with Red.
The best way to reach me is my phone number, 281-687-1188. It's there in the crawler at the bottom. My website's there, but that's the best way to reach me is by phone.
And Red, what services, what value can you bring to our audience?
My primary issue is I write every day. I haven't missed a day in over 420 some days now. I write every day on some aspect of health and wellness. I post it on my website. I post it on LinkedIn. I post it on Facebook. So I'm constantly updating whatever is out there. I look at headline news today dealing with health. I also help people with books like I am with Dr. Jacalyn. And so if you have questions about writing a book, is it going to help your credibility, help your business? That's something that I can answer to. I do that quite often, helping people kind of decide where's this really going to help them at. And so those are a couple of things. And I also provide my speaking on various topics on health and wellness, primarily in the area of longevity. That's the one area that I specialize more than anything else.
Where can we find your books?
On Amazon or on my website, either one.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Red. And Red and I are working together, as we mentioned earlier, to have my first book be published by my birthday, March 26th. And we have a little leeway there by
Very
Easter.
good.
But yes, very exciting. So thank you, Red. Let me go over to Trish. Trish, how can we get in touch with you, and what services and value can you bring to our clients?
Well, the best way to get in touch with me is by email. And that's Trish, Trish, at Changing Paces. That's paces as in steps, slowing down. Changing Paces, PACES.com. It's Trish at changingpaces.com. But seriously, in terms of a gift for today, I would love to meet with some of our audience. I would love to connect with you, for example. And let's get together for a chat. So go on over to talkwithtrish.com. Talkwithtrish.com, talkwithtrish.com. And when you do that, book a consultation, a free consult, I will give you a downloadable copy of my book, After the Diagnosis.
So generous. Thank you so much, Trish. And I'm going to go over to Megan. Thank you. Megan, how can we reach you, and what services and value can you bring to us?
So you can reach me at my website, downwithspp.com, or you can email me at megan@downwithspp.com. If you had any questions, you're like, what app was that? Or what are you talking about? Or you're crazy. Any of that, feel free to email me. I do one-on-one coaching, one-on-one strategic productivity partner coaching, or as a partner. And I also have a program that is a productivity boost. There's a 3, 5, and 7 session packages that will help you take control of your productivity.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Trish. You guys really nailed it. I'm proud of all of you, and I'm really grateful to know you and to have had this opportunity to have you here today. So thank you so much. I'm just going to close out the show, and I'll be right backstage in a moment. Thank you, everyone. As I say, each show, it means so much to me that you are here, that you're watching, that you're listening. And I know a lot of you aren't able to watch live, but I see you going to our different destinations where we have our programs, and you're watching later, which is wonderful. We are so excited about A Better You. What you watch today are presentations from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And we are launching soon a Better You University, where all of these lessons will be housed, and you will be able to watch a lesson, take a quiz, and get a certificate. And ultimately, you'll be able to combine your certificates for Dr. Jacalyn Bucks, which coming soon to you, Dr. Jacalyn Bucks. So we're excited about that. And then finally, we have a Better You Symposium, which is in the fall of 2022. We are going to have 10,000 of you, coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors, some at some fabulous destination. We're going to have our board meeting on Friday to look at the options, and we'll be communicating them to you. And we will be having an early bird special to get you signed up and getting someplace nice and hot and warm, sharing with other people who have similar interests as you. So stay tuned for that. We also have the dating show coming up at 4:00, and Donna Barnes is our guest. She has had national recognition on all the big shows. She's a relationship expert, and she's a breakup expert. So if you're in a relationship now and the relationship isn't going well, or you were in a relationship and you've got some feelings, some sentiments that you are still holding on to, Donna Barnes can help you. We'll see you later today in just about an hour. Take care. Thank you for being a fan and for watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. Bye.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting. I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.